So, thank you very much, Derek.
Yeah, it was quite a lecture, I realize now.
Derek.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
Derek.
So feel free to ask any questions. I have to say, and I have to apologize for this, I can't be here very long anymore, but feel free to ask me questions via email and contact Nera with anything that comes up afterwards.
One question from the floor, if David would like to go ahead.
Thank you. Can you hear me, Derek?
Yes?
Thank you. My question is, I'm new to zeolite technology, and I just had the question as to other users of this, these products. As in Chrome, there are many other users in different industries. Are there other users of zeolite?
Other users of zeolite than other than the tanning industry?
Yes. Yes.
Well, it's nearly everywhere. You can buy it in a health shop as a detoxing agent, basically. It's used in the laundries. It's used in the effluent treatment. And I think it's going to be used in many more fields of the industry soon. It's a very versatile compound, and as I said, we use it, but we can't use it the way we get it, so we have to modify it. Yes, but many other industries are using it. It's not something that Nera produces themselves. No. If that is your question.
No, the reason for asking is that in the past, Chrome has become, has on occasions been difficult to obtain by the tanning industry because it doesn't necessarily have the commercial clout that some other industries might have.
Yeah.
You find that the price escalates inordinately. I just wondered if zeolites were likely to, is there another major user that could have an influence on the supply or the supply in the marketplace?
Yeah, that's a good question. Thank you for asking that. But it comes in quite handy that zeolites are made from the three most abundantly available chemicals in the Earth's crust. And so far, no, everything is fine. We check this, and zeolites, we will not run out of zeolites, no, even if other industries start using it.
Okay, John, you have a question.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, John Avery, independent tannery consultant. As a traditionalist, listening to what you say, can I take it that the zeolite provides some element of fill and support for the fibre structure? My question really is based on the fact that as a traditionalist, if you give extra soaking, you give extra liming to create extra fibre bundle splitting, then that really becomes a recipe for a very empty, very loose, very pipey leather. So does the zeolite support that? Does that prevent the looseness, or downstream are we having to apply an awful lot of extra retannage?
Yeah, that's of course what I try to point out is basically if we don't do our homework properly, zeology is less forgiving than perhaps chrome tannage. But it all boils down to doing a proper soaking. And I don't mean an over soaking. I certainly don't mean this, but take your time, check the soaking, what we learned at school. I'm certainly not speaking about over soaking and using enzymes there and everything. What I speak about is use enough lime, give it a certain degree of swelling. And if you compare this to chromium, you could go one step further. And I give you an example. For instance, zeology, whether that's too time consuming or not, that is now not the debate. But if you have improperly or a normal limed pelt and you give it a reliming, the opposite happens. Instead of getting more emptiness, you get more fullness and you get better grain tightness. Now that is something that is not happening when you use chrome. So that's why you keep it more compact. But the dispersion, as fine as it is, needs to penetrate. It needs this room. And I think it's actually the opposite. If the height is not opened up above a certain degree, the leather will become more flat because the tanning agent may find it more difficult to penetrate and be distributed evenly. So it's weird, by reliming, opening it up more, we find a fuller and not even softer leather, and certainly a more grain tight leather.
Thank you. We've got some questions coming in on the chat, but we are running out of time. I asked the first one, and then perhaps what we can do is send you the other questions
Please.
via email to answer. But the first question comes from Darryl Cassingham, and it's asked, can you explain how this is different to the Henkel patented process from 1978 for zeolite, sodium aluminum, and leather? How is it better?
I have great respect for that, and it was the very first thing I read, the old articles from these days. I even kept them in my files when I was a student. It was already very interesting then. The big difference is the treatment, the modification, the impregnation that we give to the zeology, to the zeolite. That makes the difference. That converts it into a different dispersion, into a different activity. We give it an impregnation that also works from within. And of course, I have to say it is much better because with untreated zeolites, we have not been successful. We have not been successful at all. You come to a certain stage, but only when you give it this, let's call it perhaps pre-digestion, without destroying any uniformity of the particles, of the crystals. Only then you are able to have full penetration, even on full substance heights, and only then you can use it during an activation to coat and cover the fibers and increase your shrinkage temperature and get an intermediate that can go all the way from Nubuck, waterproof, Milnapper. You can make all this. So yes, I have to be honest, it's better.
Thank you very much. And as I say, we will perhaps ask these questions and ask you to answer them to the things. And we will be sending you your certificate in the post for presentation. So thank you very much.
The sad thing is, I can't come here because of private obligations, but I will be in Northampton on Monday.
Ah.
We'll leave it here.
So please.
I'll save it for you then.
Save the stamp.
So now we're coming to the break, but we could first have the tour of the tannery, and that will lead into lunch. So for those of you who are following online, we'll be reconvening at 2 o'clock for the afternoon sessions. Those of you who want to go on the tannery tour, follow me. Will be leading the tannery tour, and lunch will be served downstairs when we get back.